All right, hello everybody. We're going to give a few moments, yes, thank you. Give a few moments for folks to trickle in, a few moments for folks to reset after that. Folks, I know it's the end of the day. We're all tired. It's been 2 days, 2 days of learning, 2 days of knowledge, 2 days hopefully of fun. We've had fun? Yeah, okay, 2 days of fun, let's call it that. We're going to try to close things on a high note here. We're going to try to send you out into the world with some energy, some more laughs, some more learning, hopefully with some more seats filled at the tables. I think we've got some folks who might be coming in from the hallway. But we can get started. We can reward the early birds. And first, I'd like to thank all of my lovely panelists here. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you all for being a part of this as well. And what is this exactly, this thing that we are a part of? Well, it's how to build brands and influence people live. Can I get a show of hands? Who here is familiar with how to build brands and influence people? Who maybe subscribes to it, reads those newsletters? Yes, all my coworkers are raising their hands. I'm really glad about that. We got some folks as well. We got some fans. Well, guess what, folks? There's no longer any excuse not to subscribe to this newsletter because we've got these dandy QR codes on all of the screens around here. You point your phone at that, you're going to get subscribed to that newsletter. What is that newsletter? How to Build Brands and Influence People is something that I've written for the last 106 weeks or so. It is a weekly newsletter about brands that are crushing it in the creator marketing industry. Brands that are exemplifying the best practices that you've heard about for the last 2 days and that you all, as practitioners, live every day. So you're all potentially spotlight targets for this newsletter. But today, we want to do a live session because who better than to tell us how to build brands and influence people than people who have built brands and influenced people. So that is way more than enough for me. I want to turn things over to our incredible panelists. I'm going to ask folks to go down in a list here. Please give your name and your brand and what is special about your brand, the mission behind it, and what we should know.
My name is Malena Higuera, and I am the humbled and honored CEO of Noise. I will tell you the story of Noise off of one image that had me change my mind. I was in a journey of trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And our founder had this image of a rose on fire because the idea, the rose is so emblematic, right, of the tried and true fragrance cues. And I saw this image and I was like, man, I might go to this brand and put my career on fire one way or the other, but I definitely want to do the same for the industry. And what Noise really stands for, it's like we really want to be LA's modern fine fragrance house and change up the rules that have been quite the same for a long time. As a Latina who's always worn fragrance but never felt seen, we just thought there's an opportunity through creativity, culture, and community to bring fragrance to another level. And we just want to be for the cool kids who don't want to smell like everyone else. So that's our Noise mantra.
Love it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Romain Gaillard, and I'm the founder of the Detox Market. I started the company about 15 years ago. It's going to be 15 years in November, which is crazy, actually. And I got into that world through a friend of mine who's a breast cancer survivor and was the first one who educated me about toxicity in general. And I started doing some research. And so keep in mind, we're in 2008, 2009. Actually, Instagram does not exist at that time. Very hard to believe, but like no Instagram, no TikTok. And doing some research, found out that there were clearly questionable ingredients in personal care, that the industry was widely unregulated, which is still the case 15 years ago, which is also crazy. And last but not least, that I found out a new generation of brands that were doing everything right, had beautiful ingredients, beautiful packaging, stories, and effective products. And so I decided that I wanted to tell that story. And I created first what was supposed to be a pop-up store on a street, actually LA-based street called Abbot Kinney in Venice that I'm sure a lot of people know now. And that was the genesis of the Detox Market. And so what we are basically is we're like a curator, promoter, and a defender of like anything clean, sustainable beauty. And we're mostly an e-commerce company, but we also have like physical stores in the US and in Canada.
Thank you so much. First, can we get a round of applause for 15 years with the brand? That is no small feat. Congratulations. And I've had a lot of enthusiasm from everyone when I was telling them what the lineup is today, a lot of excitement about these brands. But I do want to say, I don't know if Claire Armstrong is in the room right now. That's a product marketing manager here at CreatorIQ. When I told her that we had the CEO of the detox market, her eyes lit up. She's a regular at the shop on Montana. She says she goes in there and people say, "Oh, you again? Back so soon?" And this wouldn't be a how to build brands and influence people if I did not shamelessly ask for a free product. That's one of the running gags that I have with all of the brands that I profile. That's a real reason that you are all up here. But no, just shout out to the detox market and to Claire and her enthusiasm for that. So you have at least one super fan and hopefully soon to be many more. And last but not least, Mindy.
Hi, my name is Mindy Chan. I head up the influencer and partnership team at OneSkin. Just curious, but how many of you guys have heard of OneSkin by a raise of hands? Oh, this is so exciting. We are a biotech company based out of San Francisco. Our founders are 4 female PhD women researchers in the space of tissue engineering, stem cell biology, immunology. So they really approach skincare with the lens of skin health. We believe that when you have your healthiest skin, the aesthetics will follow. With over 10 years, actually, of research now, 22 patents and publications, we're really proud that we are one of the most scientifically validated brands within the skincare and skin longevity space. We wouldn't be here without our community, and so we're very proud to be here, and thank you so much for making the time. I know it's in the afternoon, we've all had lunch, and it's almost time to go, but thank you for listening to us.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being here. And as you see, there are plenty of fans of each of these brands in the room. So you might be wondering why these brands specifically. They're all awesome, and we have awesome people here, but we have so many awesome people here from so many brands. Why did we choose these 3? So when I was told a fairly recent time period ago that I would be doing this session, not that you can tell, I first looked at the list of all of the CreatorIQ customers who would be attending CreatorIQ Connect, because I wanted to see who is growing and who can I profile in the same way that I profile each week in the newsletter. And so what stood out for all 3 brands is that they were among the highest growing brands across any category of all the hundreds of brands that are attending CreatorIQ Connect. So in terms of year-over-year growth for year-to-date, January to September, we've seen incredible growth for all 3 brands. And naturally, as someone who follows the space, has been writing about it for a long time, I was curious to know why. And when I write my newsletter each week, I'm not usually able to ask why. I just have to pull data on CreatorIQ's very sophisticated and very excellent back end and figure out as best I can, where is this growth coming from? Now I get to ask the question, and we all get to find out. So we should really do this every week. But I want to set up noise first, as I'm going to do for each of these examples, and just read some stats to you. As anyone who reads the newsletter knows, there are a lot of numbers. I know that watching a man sitting on stage reading numbers isn't the most entertaining thing in the world, but maybe when you hear these numbers, you'll be more entertained. The year-to-date stats for noise, 264% year-over-year growth in earned media value, a 489% year-over-year growth in impressions, a 173% year-over-year growth in creator count, so that's the number of creators who are talking about you, a 252% year-over-year growth in post count, and this one stands out to me, a 780% year-over-year growth in engagements. So that's the people who are... That's my favorite one, too. Yeah, give it up. Give it up for 780% year-over-year growth in engagement. So not only are more people talking about you, that content is resonating deeply with more and more people. So naturally, I pose you the question, what is noise doing well? And as potentially a leading aspect of that question, can you tell us about Only Human?
Yes. So y'all, I'm having a moment because I was here at CreatorIQ last year. The brand was 2 months old. No joke, we're just a little over a year old. And I was a couple of weeks old in the role, trying to figure out what am I going to do. So to be here full circle with you, it's a true honor and a testimony, really also to the partnership that we've built together with CreatorIQ. Connor, I think, was like my first call, going, what do I do? And when I look, like, Only Human is a real testimony. We wanted to launch something for and with our community in a very different way. And y'all, we know the buzz language is authenticity, community. We love those terms, right? But how could we do it very differently? And the one stat that I go down by is engagements, because it's the one you cannot buy, right? You can buy your paid views, you can buy your impressions. I really wish someone recorded him so I could send this to my board, because I really do believe engagements are key. And so with Only Human, we wanted to approach things very differently. The engagement starts with the bottle. Okay, we literally ask a question on the bottle, so what if I am? And we were inspired by this idea of if we could bottle up the human experience at a time that we are forgetting to treat each other as humans, how do we do that in a way that is really going to connect with people? And so first we started with So What If I Am, and we led with that as a teaser phase. Nobody knew what we were talking about. And we were so scared that no one would answer. Like, you're asking a question, so what if I am? Are they going to need to have like a cheat sheet on how to answer it to us? We're up to 12,000 responses from consumers telling us, so what if I am too loud? So what if I am too passionate? By the way, the most common answer is, so what if I am an overthinker? So I have no idea what that says about Gen Z, but that is the most common answer. And then we said, all right, we need to bring this, though, to real life. And again, the fragrance industry, it's a playbook. And we said, how do we change it? And when New York was at its absolute bougiest, we said, let's go and take over a piece of New York in Chelsea, Triangle there in Meatpacking. And we wanted our community to kick off the campaign. So again, people still don't know exactly what we're doing. And they were the first to experience Only Human. We got 1,000 people to come to this, okay? And we personally sprayed 1,000 people, and we took their images and we plastered them in our wild postings so they felt, because our mission is that we want to treat community as many brands treat founders, and we want them to feel like community as founder, that they found us. And we're really developing this kind of feral, like I call them feral relationships. Like I want them feral, because we're in the Hunger Games, and it's really hard to really win. And the thing that we believe in the most is the community. So I'm really excited. I just got a stat that I found out on the way here. We are now selling one Only Human in less than 3 minutes, which for a 1-year-old brand, I'll take that one. And that shows community does make a difference, and I think it's so much more sustainable, but you have to put them first in absolutely every step. We did it from mailer to execution.
That's fantastic. I love the full story moment in terms of Connect last year versus this year. I love the notion of feral relationships. I'm definitely going to steal that for the newsletter. And do feel free, I'll send you the stats afterwards. CC me on any communication to the board about engagements, and we'll write that all down. Well, shifting focus to the detox market, we've gone back and forth a little bit in terms of emails prior to this about kind of your place within the market at large. And you provided a treasure trove of data for me to go through and brand descriptions, but the one that really caught my eye and that you're especially proud of is House of Detox. So can you walk us through that initiative, what your goals were, and why that represented something of a turning point for the brand?
So for us, the challenge was a bit different. So we were at that point maybe 13-year-old company, and we had a very strong community because we've been such strict about our mission for the past 13 years at that time that people who knew us trusted us, and so that community was highly engaged, which I truly believe is actually the most important thing. And so it was a community that was engaged and that we're able to retain, which is another very important metric. And we did that without really people focusing on it. It was just more of being around, being friendly, and so on. And so our question was, how do we get out of that, not get out of that community, expand that community, right? And so we decided to expand it, but we had a few things. First, we're multi-brand. So we curate brands. We select about less than 1% of the brand we review. Every year we review about 1,000 brands, and we take about 10 to 12, so highly curated. But we don't have like the budget that a brand would have, where you can see then like have this whole marketing, because at the end of the day, if, let's say I start seeding your brand, it's your brand that is showing on Instagram. So how do you do that with a lower budget, right? Yet a lot of products and a very strong mission. And so we created a partnership with Cézanne, which is a French fashion brand that came to LA, and they had like a beautiful like showroom in LA. And we took over that showroom, and we created a full-on day spa. And we invited content creators to come and experience like different moments. So there was like one candle making, and we had like a skin analysis and mini facials, and we had like a whole hair salon that we set up, and so on. And there were like many other like different activities. And we focused on only bringing about 30 influencers. The goal was to go like as little as possible, right? But really spend the time and really try to spend enough time so they get to know Detox Market, they get to know us, and they get to know the brands. Because there were like so many things. Imagine you arrive as a content creator, and there's maybe 5 different activities, 5 different brands. You also need to learn about Detox Market. And so we decided to do it for a full day, thinking that people will come, and if they stay maybe 2 hours, it's already a win. Imagine, for a content creator. Those, like, I think 80% of the content creators that came spent 6-7 hours there. I was very surprised. Yeah, people would just hang out, and it was truly a fun, because it was very curated. Again, I think it was 36 content creators. They came in the morning, they were greeted with a matcha, like a matcha latte, and then they did like many different things, and we all had lunch together, and then we had a drink at the end of the day. It was, and people who came there absolutely loved it. Most of them never heard about Detox, but never been in one, or never shopped there, or didn't know the brands. And I think we did the stat, but all of them talked about House of Detox and Detox Market. And then if you look at the kind of long-term effect, which we were betting on the long term, because obviously to throw an event, a full-day event with everything that is that you have to create for 36 people, it's a bit of an over investment. But what we were betting on was to really truly create that relationship long term, and that created obviously a very strong relationship with those content creators, and we had such a beautiful luxury moment. And second, I think it created something long-term, even within their communities. And so that was kind of the beginning of a bigger campaign where we started seeding more and engaging more with content creators.
You mentioned those stats, and we do have them here. First, I love what you're saying about taking the time to form those relationships and to connect on that human level. We've heard it time and again throughout the past 2 days. We see the word connect right over there, but it's true. For as much as we talk about authenticity and connection, and as much as that can strike us as a buzzword or even somewhat paradoxically inauthentic as we talk about authenticity, when you form those human connections, it does make a marked difference for your brand. It can really reinvigorate conversation around your brand and cast things in a new light. So with those stats, we actually did only pick up 33 of those creators from the list that you sent. That's something that we can take it up with a product booth outside. But we looked at the 12 months prior to that event, which was in June 2024. So we looked at those creators, and we found that 9 of the 33 that we tracked had posted about the Detox Market during that month. So, approximately a quarter or so. Most had not posted. They had driven a cumulative about 117,000 EMV, and 104 of that total came from a single creator, who was actually Claire Armstrong, who's not here right now. No. During the event, we had 33 creators posting about it. During that single month, they drove a cumulative 101,000 EMV, so more than we had seen throughout, or just about what we had seen throughout the previous 12 months. And ever since, so from July to September, the last month that we have data on, that's July 24 to September 2025, 27 of those creators have continued posting, and they have generated 250,000 EMV. So that's a 3x for the creators who are posting about the brand, and more than double the earned media value that we had seen previously. So anytime you doubt the power of those in-person connections and those events to build those in-person connections, think of the detox market and doubt no longer.
Thank you. And I need to say, I need to thank actually one of our team member, Camille, who's here, who was the one orchestrating the whole thing and actually keeping on, like, still seeing and meeting with content creators with no agenda. That was another thing also, I think, for us, was we didn't have a specific agenda during that House of Detox, and after we continued meeting with people and just asking how we can help them and maybe just connect them sometimes with brands directly, and so it was by asking less that it worked.
That is often how it goes. All right, Mindy, last but not least down there with OneSkin. We have seen a 186% year-over-year creator count growth. That means that you have more than doubled, almost tripled your creator community. Tell us how you did that, and I understand that it's been a busy year with a lot of product launches.
Yes. So we've had some big launches this year. In the summer, we had some extensions of our SPF line, which is timely with summer. We had the lip SPF launch, as well as an extension of our tinted SPFs. But I think what really drove kind of the exponential growth was our hair serum launch, which happened in April of this year. It was a totally new category for us. We had not been in hair. We weren't really sure how our audience would respond, but it made sense for us because we're a skin longevity brand, and as we age, all of us, sadly, will experience some sort of hair loss. And just like skincare, you don't want to start skincare when you start to see wrinkles. We're all about preventative care, right? So I'm sure I hope all of you have a skincare routine, and so this is kind of how we see that. Skincare kind of extending up to the scalp. When we launched, we had some great beta tester before and afters for 3 months. With any kind of hair care product that is actually promising hair growth, you have to use it for 3 to 6 months before you can see results. So at launch, we had the beta tester before and afters. We had some partners start to use it maybe a couple months prior to the launch, and they were starting to see some results as well, which was great. And we knew the serum worked. Now, fast forward now it's been 6 months since the launch, and now we're seeing another surge of content creators coming up and saying, oh my gosh, this has worked for me. Look at all this hair growth. And the before and afters are amazing. In addition to the launches in 2025, we actually made a concerted effort to really expand our seeding. We got our start kind of in the biohacking and longevity experts in those communities, and we will always be there because that's who we are, and it's in our DNA. But we wanted to expand into the other communities that would care about longevity. That's within the health and wellness space, people who are experiencing menopause, right? And we really took a look at the content that was coming through organically to identify which niche communities that we should target. And when we went there, the conversations were already happening, and so we just kind of seamlessly entered those conversations. We were able to seed these people our products, and there was an appreciation for the product because we were all speaking the same language. And I think also, we as a brand approach aging with gratitude and appreciation. We feel that, if you're not aging, you're dead, right? So we all want to age. It's just a matter of how do we delay the signs and visible signs of aging on our skin. And that's kind of what we're all about. And so I think that resonates with the community as well.
I like that. If you're not aging, you're dead. That should be a good slogan. The other thing that I drilled into here and that really shocked me, and that we've been back and forth on email on this as well, is your growth on TikTok. Now, I know you were starting at a relatively small scale last year when we're looking at these year-over-year metrics, but again, I'm going to read some numbers to you. 5,111%, that is your year-over-year growth for TikTok EMV. 2,323%, that's your TikTok impressions. 2,850, that's your creator count. 5,354, that's your post count. And again, we all love engagements. It's the most important one. 9,927% year-over-year growth in TikTok engagements. I mean, I think it's no secret that skincare is popular on TikTok, that a lot of the communities that you've spoken to, that is really resonant on TikTok. But do you want to speak a little bit quickly to some of the partnerships that you've explored on that channel?
Sure. So when we started this year, we were really targeting YouTubers and TikTok. Instagram was kind of our comfortable space. We wanted to branch out, and we knew there were communities outside of Instagram that we wanted to reach. When we went to TikTok, we launched our TikTok kind of April of last year, so it has not been a long time since we did that. When we went to those communities, started seeding heavily within the TikTokers as well as YouTubers, there was an early adoption within the TikTok space, so we leaned into it. We started to partner with influencers who had a big following on TikTok. And we also don't want it to ever feel transactional. So, we tend to partner with people who already are speaking about us or who we feel would appreciate who OneSkin is, right? Then it's just an easier sell-in. We don't have to convince them of anything, and they want to learn about the brand. So I think, hearing those numbers, it's kind of overwhelming, to be honest, and to hear stats in the thousands, like I've had a very long career, and I don't think I've ever experienced those kind of growth, so I'm incredibly proud of what my team and I have been able to do. My team's right there. A team of 3, by the way. And so, I think for us, it's really about leaning in, listening to the community, identifying who are the people who are posting about us, absolutely reaching out every single time if we don't know the person already. For the most part, it's surprising, too, because the people who are posting about us are not always within the beauty space. They are the thyroid experts. They are the menopause experts. They are the dental hygienist, right? It's people that you don't expect, but they're the ones who are talking about us and really loving us. And so we're really leveraging those relationships. And kind of to your point, relationships it's everything, right? So I've been in the beauty space for about 10 years now, and the relationships that I've built along the way has really been helpful and tremendous. And we've been very lucky, and yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad to give you those growth numbers. Again, I'm available for CCing on any emails to leadership or boards or what have you. We're just about at 4 o'clock. Real quick, lightning round. Same question to each participant. What's next for your brand? What do you want folks in the audience to look out for?
Yeah. I don't know if y'all ever notice, but the same thing that wakes you up in the morning is the same thing that keeps you up at night sometimes. So for me is scaling community, right? Like how to crack that mantra, because I really do believe that we're entering an era where we have to diversify ourselves, like different platforms, different resources of awareness, and I think community is very much untapped. But the pathways there need to be paved in a way that is going to create incredibly sustainable value. So this is my pitch out. If anyone has ideas, I will be at the bar. But it's something I am getting excited about. I don't like 2-horse races. Like, I don't know if y'all sat in the Snap conversation. I started, my team and I were really frustrated because every single time we launched something this year, there was a TikTok ban to the day. I'm not joking. January, April, and September. And in April, I gave up, and I said, let's try Snap. And my team was like, Snap? Like, we deleted that. And I said, listen, I was at the airport, and I saw my targets snapping all next to each other. I don't even know if that's the right language. And I said, let's just try it. And we had 150,000 followers now on Snap, and I don't know what to do with them, so I'm figuring that out. And we call them, they call us, we launch products there first. But one of the things that I'm really interested in is figuring out how to stay lean, scrappy, mean, and lean. I am growing a team, if anyone also will be at the bar. But I do think community at scale is going to be really fascinating for all of us. And what I love about LA is we're a lot I'm a New Yorker, I can say this. We're a little bit kinder to each other and taking care of each other. So if y'all ever want to just, riff together, that's something I'm very passionate about.
She's not kidding, too. In the speaker lounge, I had to pull her away from people, some of the Snapchat creators.
I was working that Snap person so hard.
I said, I'm really sorry, but our session's about to begin. We got to go, so.
I was like, damn, all right, I'll be right back.
For us, one of the big, it's not going to be Snap for us, but maybe that's a good idea, actually. I should go back on Snapchat. I deleted it as well, yeah. And so for us, the big thing is the detox market got acquired by actually the holding company of Violet Grey, which is another retailer and curator, actually, in LA. Very known for luxury and be a trend spotter and trendsetter on the luxury space. And just like us, we are on the green beauty space. And so they have their own community as well. And we have our own community. We actually compared, I didn't tell you that, we compared the other day the community. There actually is absolutely no overlap, which is fascinating. We looked at whoever talked about us in the past year, talked about them, and there's almost no overlap, maybe a few people. And so that's a huge opportunity for us, because at the end of the day, even though we're different, the thing we have in common is we are really super edgy when it comes to new brands and launch new brands. And so I think for us, a great challenge will be to try to get their community interested more about clean beauty and sustainable products. And for us would be to get, and for them to get their community, our community a little more interested in glamorous LA type of beauty. And so that's a big opportunity for us.
I think for us, since we have all these new members within our community, it's to keep them retained and engaged and speaking about us and keeping that frequency up. We do have some launches coming up in 2026, which we're really excited about. And I think as a brand, our mission is to really help everybody in their skin care and skin longevity journey so that everybody can have their healthiest skin, because we do believe that aesthetics will follow. So, it's, again, keeping that community growing, keeping that community talking about us, and staying connected to them. Yeah.
Way to end on the note of connection. It's very on theme.
You're welcome.
Well, folks, hold your applause for a moment, because there's a lot of people to thank at the risk of getting played off by the audience, or orchestra, rather. You've done it. You survived 2 days of CreatorIQ Connect, the first 2 days that we've ever done. Maybe we'll do it again. I don't know. But I want to thank our amazing panelists first and foremost. Thank you so much. You're all busy, important people doing great things. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your time with us this afternoon. Folks, it's because this is the last session, I want to thank the staff here at the Ebo Theater for putting on an amazing event, helping us all the way through. And I want to thank all of my coworkers at CreatorIQ, and admittedly, I'm a little biased, but a special thank you to the marketing team that I'm a member of. They're the ones who put on this event. Let's give them all a big round of applause for all that they've done. All right, you don't have to clap anymore. We can go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.